All right, welcome back to my playlist. It's me, Alex the Poppy from Poppy's Publishing, and my series on creating my kids' books. When I began this list, so many years ago, back in 2024, I was beginning my third kids' book, Meow Meow and the Halloween Trick. I don't think that was even the title when I thought of it back then, but I started off the series with some behind the scenes stuff of showing you how I wrote it in a notebook and then going to a Word document, the many drafts I did, even some thumbnails. So it's come a long way, but then I went into the first book and the second book. But now it's come full circle to book number 3, Meow Meow and the Halloween Trick. Yay. Time to get in deeper with this book and see how it came to be. Again, I thought of the idea somewhere near the end of January of 2024. So I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I'm doing this, because I didn't think I'd do another Meow Meow book so soon. But the clock was ticking. I had an August deadline, because that's when Halloween stuff starts popping up in stores. The fever's building, so I had a road ahead of me. I think that's maybe why I stopped the videos as well, or initially, because I had to get this book done, and there's a lot. There's a lot going on in this book. Several pages. I think it's the usual count of like 34 or so, but there's more characters. There's a haunted house. There's spiders. There's bats. There's a lot going on in this book, and so I really had to buckle down and work on it just about every single day to see if I can make my deadline. Because what's the motto? Find a way. That's right. That's my motto, and I'm sticking to it. It helps get me through the hard times and the struggles and the challenges. You mean there's struggles and challenges making a kid's book? If you've been watching this playlist, yes, you're aware of that. But it was fun creating this because it's a Halloween book. I've been dying to do something with Halloween, and I knew I wanted to do something with Meow Meow. So, as you know, I began the book and got through the early phases. I haven't shown you any of the artwork from it, so let's do this for this video. So we're going to break the book in half. What? No. No breaking the book. I mean, I'm breaking up the video on how I talk about the book in half. So I'm going to do the first half of the book in this video, and then the next video will be the second half to the ending. Cool? All right. Can't wait to dive into this and give you some behind the scenes, some tips and tricks, and even some Easter eggs. Seems kind of funny to have Easter eggs in a Halloween book, but you'll see what I mean. Okay. So what do you say? Let's boogie. All right, I drew this image of Meow Meow in a Halloween costume early when I was working on the first book, I think. And I'd gotten down my Clip Studio Paint a little better, and I drew Meow Meow, her colors, and I said, this would be a fun idea, just playing around with what kind of costume would this super cat wear. She's not going to dress up as just about anything, but I figured, this would be kind of fun. This little cowl and with a cape and a pumpkin jack-o'-lantern little moniker there under her chin, and these glowing green bracelets that match the green belt that has a little spider on the buckle with the spider web shooting out. Huh? Really cute. And her little stockings and her black skirt. So I said, yeah, that's fun. And I eventually made it a shirt. And it's just fun to wear it, and I love wearing it. The shirt still lasts. And so when it came time to work on the book, I said, I gotta use this. I mean, the image is right here. It's perfect. I mean, this is the best cover I gotta use. However, I had to do something to make life easy on me. As you can see, there's lots of webs. It looks very cool, But listen to me, that is a lot of work to draw in the course of quite a few pages in the book, where Meow Meow is just about on every single page. So when it came time to do the book, did some alterations. Meow Meow a little bigger. I changed the way the spider was, but I did separate the lines. Added a little bit of this. I made sure that I would do her purple spider webs on a completely different layer. So it's still looking pretty good, but there we go. Less lines and made it a lot easier for me to draw her, believe me. I think the stockings I made just a pure line. I think I had borders around them. Change that. And the spider, it doesn't have these little rounded parts in its emblem. They're spiky. And there's the jack-o'-lantern. If you pay attention in the book, it actually sometimes changes its expression if Meow Meow does. Little bonus Easter egg there. And so I said, well, green is a pretty good color for Halloween. I really wanted purple, but I used it for Meow Meow and the Great Horse Rescue, so we're not repeating ourselves. And so I figured green, yeah, that's good. We have like a green setting. I did get a lot of this clip art from Canva to add the bats, background, grass, and the tombstone, the jack-o'-lanterns, and the trees, and the gate. And this was just all me working in gradients, Clip Studio Paint, adding my cloud effects. There she is by herself amongst the background. I had to see if she looked okay. Made sure the green wasn't clashing, but pretty cool. And there we are, combining things together. Actually, I think in this drawing I only had 2 bats. I'm saying, I think I need some more. And there you have it. This would be it. There we go. Early phase. So yeah, let me add some more bats. It just seems like it was too dead over here. So I added some of that, and this was the cover. Meow Meow and the Halloween Trick is what I fell on. So let's dive into the book. This was my original idea. You can see there's like a little pirate. I wanted to start the book with Meow Meow flying into town and going to meet her friends to go trick-or-treating. So the very first page was going to be this, her flying into town and looking at all the people trick-or-treating, and they're looking up and saying, hey, it's Meow Meow. And I thought it'd be kind of cool, but as I was writing, she gets to their house, and then the person comes out, and then she goes to the other kid, and then they join her. But it was taking too much time. As I was writing this, I'm like, wait a second. I'm like halfway through the book, and nothing's happened. We don't need that. But as you are aware of, I do like to use sketches for other parts of the book. And I liked this. It was cute. So I used it for the dedication page. Kept it in there and digitized, and it made it green to keep with the colors. And this one was dedicated to my granddaughter, Elena Rosalie. At the time, she was the newest chapter in our family story. Love you. She was born February 2024. And I think this was one of the very last things I did, actually, because I just had it dedicated to people who loved Halloween. I said, you know what? I got to include her. So there she is, dedicated to her. And most recently, my stepdaughters told me that Elena has been fascinated by this book because she seems to be digging Halloween. And she's 2 years old now. Can't wait to see her, see how she's changed in over a year since I was last there. All right, let's move on to page 1. So I said, let's get things rolling. They'll be in the middle of trick-or-treating. Meow Meow, Gertie Foxerini, and Lido Berry. The cowboy thing was not working for me. So I put him in like an Aladdin getup. It just seemed to work better with his bear ears and whatnot. In her, I got rid of the wings and just kind of made her into like a, fun princessy flowery outfit. And so they're in the middle of trick-or-treating. They got their bags, and I did this pencil sketch. I'm like, okay, that's the kind of thing I want to show. They're having a good time. They're in the middle of it. And there we go. Drew them like this. Their bags are on separate layers, of course. And they're just enjoying the night. See, the jack-o'-lantern's smiling. Then I put Meow Meow a little closer. She was too far away. I didn't want her that far away. I think I had a weird design going on with Gertie's skirt at the bottom. Like, no, this is not happening. As you can see, this is the background of a gate they're passing in a Halloween column, which is an Easter egg. I'll explain in a second. But then, of course, this is what I like to show you. It's okay if layers are bleeding through. It doesn't matter because they'll get colored and covered up. I just wanted to make sure everything lined up the way I wanted. I had a little jack-o'-lantern and a tree. I was going to try and draw houses, but you know what? Like, no. Let's put the focus on them. Now we are coloring in things. But you see something very strange here. Why are we seeing through them? This was a snafu I made on Clip Studio Paint. I did not know this could happen, but it can. Something happened, and as I was filling in colors, I did not even notice this until I started adding the background. Like, why can I see through them? And somehow the opacity changed. So be aware of your keyboard. You might bump something, and just check your colors before you proceed. How on earth did I fix this? What I eventually had to do was color over it again. Because I'm like, I already did this. There's no way I'm going to do this page from the very, very beginning. I've done too much. So that was one way to get out of it until I figured out, I think, page 1 was the only one I think I screwed this up with. But quickly realized, yeah, this needs to be fixed. And thankfully, that was enough. And here's the final result. Pretty snazzy. See, nothing bleeding through. And these 2 Halloween columns, they are Easter eggs. Because, my friends, I made 2 Halloween columns that look exactly like those. I made them myself from the ground up with wood, cardboard, paper mache. I bought the skulls from like the dollar store. And this was actually a salad bowl, and I painted everything. Obviously, I didn't have any fire coming from it, but I did create these. So those are my little Easter eggs. I had to throw my columns in here somehow. But there's another one coming up. This is the second page. The second page is divided into 2 things. One of those pages where I put 2 things. But I wanted to focus on this. Show the kids getting candy from somebody. I had someone with a ball cap. And I'm like, no, that's kind of eh. Let's have the guy dressed up as the Count. But does he look kind of familiar to you? Well, yes. It is an Easter egg. A Halloween treat. Because this is me. I threw myself in my own book. Why not? I figured, let me make a cameo. I've never done it in any of my books, so here we go. And I figured I'd be the guy giving these guys candy here. Candy will be on a separate layer, but I wanted to wear this Count outfit because I did dress like this when I did my dinner shows as the Count. Had the red vest, the red bow tie, and the black cape and pants. So let's add some more details. There we are, blah. And just a bunch of different candies. They are a few layers here. This was very hard. I had to draw these little individual candies in wrappers and whatnot. I wasn't going for anything specific, just a general idea. of the candies, and each had their own little layer here. And I thought it was cute, especially with Meow Meow looking directly at me like, "Aw, I'm looking at the guy who created me. Thank you, mister." I am the Poppy. It is my honor to share a scene with you, Meow Meow. Moving right along here, the whole premise of this book is that Halloween night is almost over, and they're kind of sad to see it go, but then this young girl comes up to him, Meow Meow, asking her and her friends to help her find her cat, who ran into this house on the top of the hill. Nothing ominous about that, right? A house on the top of the hill in a Halloween book? What could go wrong? Here I'm showing you some pencil sketching I did in blue pencil to give you a little bit of an idea and just help me figure out, okay, this is the way I want the page to look. And there's kind of the layout with the line art, which is very interesting. I almost forgot about this. When I first did this book, very differently from the other ones, I just did the line art for every single page first, and then came back to color. I almost forgot about that. But yeah, that's how I did it a little differently this way. I think it was just better to focus on all the line art and then come back and color at my own leisure. It seemed to help. But there she is pointing to the house, and here I tackled a house. I was trying to make it really pristine and nice, you know, I did lots of lines. There's lines in Clip Studio Paint. You could make straight lines and angles. I'm like, okay. But then I'm like, it looks too neat. So then I said, let me try and draw this by hand, use some of these other drawings as kind of like inspiration to get the angle I wanted. I'm like, okay, maybe we'll have this boarded up. I needed some windows and a door. Like, okay, maybe. Then I tidied it up a little bit. Boarded windows. These. Well. And I look at it like this, like, kind of getting there, but this looks weird. It doesn't look right. Like, all these boarded windows, but there's nice things here. I'm like, well, no. So then I drew it by hand again, and I said, okay, this is more like it. We'll just have a few windows. We'll have a door. We'll have some of this in front here, and just a little patio. That's it. I drew this, I think, with a charcoal brush, just to give it some other texture, because it's roofing and all that. Okay, I can work with this. I think we have it. Then I gave it this color. It's got to be just a little darker. Steps will be this brown thing, this one of these different hues of bluish gray. Then added some details. I think this is a ground or something, a dirt brush, just to kind of give you that feeling of a roof texture. I didn't really want to go through making shingles. No. It's a kid's book. I mean, it was great dedication if you want to do that to your art, but I wanted to make it kind of simple and easy, but still look like it's a house. And adding some of my spray paint in the windows just to give it a dirty look, and shading, and then these cracks. I love the crack brush. It does this really nice thing here. I'm like, okay, we've got a house. Now we color in Meow Meow and Trudy on their own separate layers. Look at the jack-o'-lantern staring up as well. And yes, she has green hair. I don't know why I gave her green hair. Maybe just something mystical. She is not related to Green Hair Lena. Or is she? She came first, but I just thought it'd be cool. Halloween, she has green hair. Why not? Maybe she was trick-or-treating. So, shaded them in, and now, now we're talking. We have them in the foreground pointing to that house on the hill. Her cat ran in there. Can you get her for me, please? Sure, why not? What could go wrong? And then I used the grass brush, use some green, use some black to make the grass not look the neatest. You can see it's kind of separating. It's not fully lush. And then the ground coverage, I added some cloudy effects, did the sky in some gray. But you know what, I was like, this is okay, but I want to add some more, which I did. Maybe add a little more cloudy stuff to the grass, maybe like fog is rising. And it's like a blue, not a blue, a purple hint in the background to just give it a little extra something. It was fun. This was a very taxing page, but it still was fun to have it come together. Lots of layers on this one. So, obviously, Meow Meow and her friends go up to the house while Trudy stays behind. And they check it out. And when they open the door, bats fly out. So this was the initial sketch. This is pretty much the way it looks. But there's more bats. I'm like, I'm not going to just have 3 bats. I mean, well, that wouldn't really scare anybody. You need a bunch. So, what did I do? I took my initial bat designs and replicated them. See, some of them are very similar. I think I drew maybe 4 of them, and then just maybe altered them just a tad, or I reversed them, I flipped them, so I could make many. Yeah, I could have drawn all of them individually, but where's the fun in that? When the clock is ticking. So that's the secret behind that. And there's your final result. Pretty cool with the red mouth and the red eyes. And look at Meow Meow's jack-o'-lanterns. Worried. Like, I gotta have the bats flying out. I gotta. It's the first scare. But they must press forward and go after Miki. That's the name of the cat. Miki? What kind of name is that? I don't know. It's just something I came up with. I've been saying it for years. Miki. Miki. I call my pets that. I call anybody that. It doesn't mean anything. Maybe it's just like an endearment. But I'm like, oh, this will be fun. Because in the book, they call it the cat's name. So if you're reading along, you could go, Miki. Miki. And a little black cat with a bill. I have a black cat. His name is Jackson. He's a lot bigger. But he's a good boy. So I just showed you this little image of the cat. And this is when they finally see the cat in another room on top of a bookshelf. I kind of wanted to just show this bookshelf just standing here in the middle of this door, you know, in the background of this doorway. You can't really see much, just the bookshelf and the cat on it. And this crazy paper. This is actually a liquify brush to give it this really swirly effect. And I just did this etching thing. I think it was great the way it just stands out like you just see the cat in this bookshelf in the spotlight just ominously sitting in the middle of this room. And they go after him. But wind up floating in the air? No, actually, they land in a bunch of spider webs. Well, where are they, Poppy? So this is the initial setup. I drew each of them individually. And I think I drew each of them on paper big. So it was very easy to detail them. But then this is what they're on. So this was some fun work. I drew them first, knowing they had to cling to something. So it was easy to line up my webbing. Just had to be in a lot of different directions. And I think this was a charcoal brush or something like that, a soot brush. Just painted it gray, and it's created quite a texture. And they just suddenly wind up in a room full of webs. How is that possible? You saw the outside of the house. How can that be? It's a haunted house. Anything's possible. And now with the background, yeah, there's some gray and it's dark. It's like, oh boy. And even here I added some webs that are a little broken, so it's just not a perfect spider web. So what does that mean? If it's a spider web, you gotta have a spider. And this was my initial sketch. Like, okay, we gotta have the spider. I know it's got the eyes. It's got the 8 legs, of course, but I'm like, this kind of looks more like a tick. And I was just kind of drawing a spider from what I thought it should look like. Like, wait a second. Maybe I should really look at what spiders look like. So I went online and took some images in my head, some photo reference. Actually, staring at spiders as images was getting kind of icky after a while. Really, there are some nasty looking creatures. And then I said, yes, most spiders have this two-part body. That makes more sense. And oddly enough, their legs are usually on the first part. So that was good. And what are you staring at, Lito? You're looking in the wrong direction. Let's change that. There we go. You're actually looking at this spider who's crawling down from this web. I had to have a spider in here. It was fun to color. It's dark brown, and I just used this speckle brush to give him this gray. And then even added some little speckles on the web, you know, just kind of make the web stand out. It's not just things standing there. Just to kind of give you the size in relation to our heroes here. So yeah, it's a good one. I'm really glad the way it came out. And they get tangled up, and it's getting closer. Meow Meow's struggling to break free. So this was, I think this is my last two-part page. Excuse me. I figured instead of putting this on one page and this one page, I could put them together. And this was the angle I decided. It's getting closer to poor Lito. But of course they break free, and then I wanted Meow Meow to use her super breath to blow the spider away. So this is my initial pencil sketch. And I was going to originally have her here and her friends here. I'm like, I think I could change that, but here's the finished Meow Meow using her super breath. That comes later. Then I drew Gertie all by her lonesome. Same with Lito. They're just standing there. Meow Mew's got them on safer ground. And she's blowing spider away so it can't bother them. So remember, we draw these full size and shrink them down, and we still have very good detail. I just like this angle. It just shows the enormousness, the gigantousness of this spider, and how powerful Meow Meow's super breath is. Combination of clouds and maybe some speckle paint. So, and that's this half of the book. Yeah. How about that? I love showing behind the scenes stuff and how I come up with ideas. Sometimes they just flow into me easily. Sometimes I have to work around them, but we find a way, right? We find a way. And up to that point, I was really happy with the way things were going. But remember, I did the line art first and then came back to color it later. I just thought it would be an easier way to avoid problems. As I mentioned, sometimes I've colored something and then the head's too big or something's off. So here at least I had a chance to let it percolate, and when I came back to review everything, I could see that most everything was in place where I wanted it, with the exception of that opacity error. But thankfully I remedied that rather quickly. But I hope you enjoyed looking at Meow Meow and the Halloween Trick and some of the pages in the book that I really thought you would enjoy looking at with me. So there'll be one more video. I'll deal with the second half of the book and wrap this up. But before I go, obviously I would love it if you like and subscribe. But most importantly, my birthday is coming up, July 12th. That'll be my birthday. Happy birthday to me. But you didn't know it would make a great birthday gift, as well as liking and subscribing to my videos, would be to buy the books. There's 3. That'd be a wonderful gift for me. Purchase my books, summer reading. Have fun with your family and friends and read along with the kids and just enjoy it. It would be a great gift to me. It would make my birthday so wonderful. If you want to buy my shirt too, this is on my Poppy's Printings page on Redbubble. I'll put a link below too if you want this Halloween shirt. All right, well, thank you for checking this video out, and I will see you on the next one very, very soon. Until then, have a very meow meow time and keep creating.